tal? ¿Cómo estamos? Yo muy feliz de tenerlos aquí nuevamente, muy contento de presentarles otro documental de Thich Nhat Hanh, perdón, que acaba de salir, ¿no? Y está buenísimo porque es como la continuación del que ya habíamos platicado en anteriores ocasiones. Entonces está genial porque se centra prácticamente en su muerte, en todo el proceso que lleva, ¿no? Porque, pues bueno, la historia, como lo vimos en el primer documental, vimos que es una historia bastante difícil, ya el cierre de su vida, ¿no? Sufre un derrame cerebral y, pues bueno, esto lo imposibilita la mitad de la cara y decide regresar a su tierra. En fin, se los voy a dejar aquí. Quise hacer este intro como para dar un contexto de lo importante. Va a ser como la secuela del documental que vimos la vez pasada, que habla de su vida, y ahora hablamos exactamente de su muerte. Y pues bueno, derivado de eso, quiero recomendarles bibliografía periférica. Ya saben que siempre me gusta recomendarles este libro, ya se los había recomendado, pero bueno, dado a que este documental está basado en la vida, en la muerte más bien, de Thich Nhat Hanh, ¿no? De su proceso de muerte, que es impresionante. La muerte es una ilusión. Es un gran libro que precisamente lo que hace es hacer una recopilación de lo que significa la vida después de los budistas y antes de los budistas, ¿no? Y realmente vemos que Thich Nhat Hanh pues, ha sido una gran revelación para el budismo moderno. Eso hay que reconocerlo en todos los sentidos, y realmente el concepto que tiene de la muerte es inspirador. Es inspirador porque realmente todos podemos lograr esa trascendencia, ¿no? De que no sea simplemente una presencia física, sino que hay presencias que pueden durar para siempre. Y también que sirva como introducción un libro que se llama Las claves genéticas de Richard Ruth, que tenemos su libro que vamos a utilizar mucho, vamos a estudiar en la temporada número 3 de Santo el Semiólogo. Pero en esta parte, en la séptima clave genética, que se llama la virtud, bueno, el CD de la séptima clave genética, habla de una historia muy linda de los judíos, que quiero leérselas para que sirva como contexto para lo que vamos a ver. Dice, en el libro místico judío más importante que existe, el Zohar, figura una poderosa analogía con el viaje por esta séptima clave genética. Está condensada en el concepto cabalístico conocido como Tukum Olam, una frase que traduce normalmente como la reparación del mundo. Los cabalistas explican que cuando el Creador hizo el mundo, creó una serie de recipientes para contener la luz divina, pero que al caer la luz dentro de ellos estallaron y fueron a parar al reino de la materia. De esta manera, el mundo en el que vivimos está compuesto de incontables pedazos de aquellos recipientes originales en los cuales está atrapada la luz divina. Los cabalistas dicen, asimismo, que cada acto virtuoso realizado por un ser humano ayuda a reparar uno de aquellos fragmentos rotos. Esto es muy bonito entenderlo porque cada acto virtuoso, cada acto de bondad nos cambia la vida. Esto es muy bueno, lo vamos también a estudiar en otras clases, pero siempre que te sientas decaída, decaído, cansado, triste, enojado, realiza un acto de bondad y vas a ver que es mágico. Realiza un acto de bondad y saber cómo te cambia totalmente la energía y te das cuenta de que hay mucha gente que te necesita en tu presente. Recordemos que, como estamos viendo ahorita en la segunda temporada, ¿no? Si pensamos demasiado en el futuro, sentimos miedo y ansiedad. Y si pensamos mucho en el pasado, sentimos y nos deprimimos. Y entonces lo que sucede es que dejamos un hueco en el presente, y el presente nos necesita. El presente, y hay muchas personas nos necesitan. Entonces, siempre que te sientas enojada, enojado, frustrado, lo que tú quieras, haz un acto de bondad. Como un acto de bondad, ayuda a alguien, sirve, apoya a alguien en la calle sinceramente, entra a un baño público y jala. Si no jalaron, no te cuesta nada. Alguien lo tenía que hacer, alguien le pagan por hacerlo, a ti no te cuesta nada, aunque sea con la patita, ¿no? Cualquier acto de bondad, de regalar una sonrisa, un buenos días, Hay muchísimas cosas como consideras como actos de bondad, ayuda a los demás de cualquier manera y tu energía cambiará, ¿no? Y pues bueno, todos estos recipientes, todos estos pedazos que dice este cuento judío, pues se entiende también como una parte de las personas que han cambiado el mundo. Creo que tenemos que ser objetivos. Hemos vivido épocas, tiempos maravillosos. Nos ha tocado vivir en nuestra época, nada lejano, con grandes maestros de todos tipos, el mismo Thich Nhat Hanh, Bruce Lipton, Deepak Chopra, Ama, una emocional magnífica de la India, el mismo Alfonso Ruiz Soto, Wayne Dyer, el mismo Jacobo Greenberg. Bueno, Malala, que también es una de las grandes místicas de nuestra época. En fin, gracias a Dios y al universo que nos permite tener de manera muy, muy cercana, 50, 30 años, testimonios de personas que han logrado alcanzar un nivel de conciencia que tenemos que imaginar que nosotros podemos llegar ahí. Como lo he mencionado en las clases, hay mucho trabajo que hacer todavía, ¿no? Nadie, si no ya no estaríamos en este plano, si no tuviéramos asuntos que trabajar. Pero bueno, tener la visión y la inspiración, recuérdense que el amor nace de la inspiración, ¿no? Esta inspiración que sale de la admiración, ¿no? Cuando admiras a alguien te inspira a ser mejor y de ahí nace el amor. Entonces, pues bueno, estos son testimonios de cómo la muerte budista, que la ve desde todos los elementos, no la persona. ¿Esto qué quiere decir? Que Thich Nhat Hanh existirá en todos los lugares, ¿no? En todos los momentos, en todos los budistas, en todas las religiones, en todos sus poemas, existirá, ¿no? En todos los ciruelos, en todos los árboles de ciruelos que están sembrados en Plum Village, en Francia, existe Thich Nhat Hanh. Y ese es el gran mensaje, la síntesis de este libro y de su vida, ¿no? Que logremos encontrar los elementos, no la persona querida, ¿no? Yo me acuerdo que les he comentado en otras ocasiones de esta persona que tenía los ojos azules, turquesa, y era muy importante, y se muere. Y entonces en todos los mares, en color turquesa, en los azules turquesa, en todos los azules turquesa, siempre se puede encontrar a esa persona. Y que además estará siempre en donde más te recuerdan. Entonces, sobre esta breve introducción, pues vamos a ver como uno de los grandes místicos de nuestra época, una persona, un gran maestro, que honraremos infinitamente, y en todos los elementos budistas, en todos sus libros. Hoy que lo agarro, después de muchos años, me doy cuenta que Thich está con nosotros y que siempre estará contigo. Entonces, pues vamos a verlo, vamos a ver cómo termina y cuántas enseñanzas nos deja incluso una vez que Thich Nhat Hanh ha trascendido este plano. Y recordemos que todas nuestras personas queridas existen en un solo lugar. Existen en nuestro escenario interno de conciencia, donde siempre podrán existir. Así que, pues, gracias por tu atención. Vamos juntos a ver este magnífico documental. Nos vemos próximo.
The root temple is very important temple, and the abbot and the teacher of that temple has many students and spiritual family members. So when he was 16 years old, he became a novice here in the Hill Temple. And the last 3 years of his life, he decided to come back here.
It is not Thay's will that he has to be in the West because the war of Vietnam. That's why he was forced into exile. But his heart is in Vietnam. That we know. Throughout so many years of Thay's life, he continued to give the teaching in the West, but he continued to have a very close interaction with the Vietnamese people. So after Thay had the stroke in 2014, after the treatment in America, and then he came back to France, and then he already planned to go back to Vietnam.
Xong việc Việt Nam. Dạ. Phải qua lại. Giờ con hỏi, chúng con muốn biết là sư ông muốn về Việt Nam ở lâu không? Sư ông có muốn con sắp xếp bên đó hay không? Con sắp xếp với chính quyền, với giáo hội, với lại tổ đình để cho Sam ở luôn bên đó.
There are many factors that were in play when Thay was going to Vietnam. Of course, Thay in the tradition is still the abbot, or was still the abbot of Tu Hieu Temple. And so it's very appropriate for Thay to return.
So it was very exciting that Thay can come back, so that all of his students from all around the world can return to the root. And it's very beautiful that the Vietnamese government is willing to open up and to make that happen.
When Thầy made signs, we asked questions, all kinds of questions, and Thầy nodded his head or shook his head to say yes or no. And after all the questions, we understood that Thầy wanted to go back to Vietnam.
During those days, it's very interesting that Thầy keep drawing a circle. With his left hand, he draw a circle. And then at the end of the circle, he pointed toward his low abdomen with the sign in his left hand like this. So what we interpreted, and then we asked Thầy whether the interpretation is correct. Thầy had been going around the world, teaching and spreading the Dharma, and now it's time for Thầy to return to the root. And he would like to connect with the root, and that root is his ancestor, so that he raised his hand up to his head. I think it was a very joyful atmosphere. Everyone was very excited, and I too was very excited that Thầy can go back to Vietnam. As I remember, when Thầy arrived in Tu Hieu, there was a big crowd. Even though it was only a few days at that announcement, there's a big crowd that came and to welcome Thầy.
By being there in Vietnam, Thay became an object of pilgrimage. And I think Thay was very aware of that. It's not easy for many people to travel outside of Vietnam, so to have Thay there, it created a focal point. Although we had difficulty to build a full Plum Village center in Vietnam, by Thay being there, Thay was effectively a practice center. Thay established a practice center in his presence.
The Hill Temple was built by mandarins, by eunuchs, in 1848. And this three-door gate, all temples in Hue, you will see the three-door gate. And in the middle is always closed because they open only for the king and the abbot.
And of course, the brother and sister are very happy to see Thầy. And we have monks, nuns who have been Thầy students for a long time come to greet Thầy. It was a great homecoming for Thầy. And I see those who have known Thầy for a long time were very happy to see Thầy back in Vietnam.
We didn't dare to tell a lot of the crowd, but even that day is a big crowd. And I remember when he first arrived, he even wanted to walk. He was in a wheelchair, but he want somebody hold him, and he walked a few steps before he climbed back on the wheelchair. So he showed that he's really determined to go back and happy to touch the land of Vietnam.
After his hemorrhage in 2014, Thầy doesn't speak anymore. At that time, the doctor told us that Thầy had a few hours to live. And miraculously, Thầy went through that most critical moment, and Thầy got out of his coma, and slowly he restored his senses. There were moments when Thầy was very close to death, but Thầy overcame. And the young sisters in the nunnery of Diệu Trạm, they were very lucky because they could see Thầy. They had the chance to eat with Thầy, to take care of Thei's place, and slowly there's feeling of love between teacher and student. They learn a lot from Thầy of how to be present for each person. Whenever they went to Thầy, they could feel that Thầy talked a lot to them with his eyes, with his full presence, or with his movements. He made signs. I have arrived, I'm home. It's a fundamental practice in Plum Village. We dwell in the present moment, in the here and the now. Body and mind, we enjoy where we are, what we are doing. We don't think anywhere else. We don't think of the past, of the future. We are totally present, body and mind here for us and for the person in front of us. We don't need to run anymore. We don't need to go anywhere. We are home. We feel that we have arrived.
Thầy would go out on the walk, and people around just became more mindful. It created an atmosphere in the temple of mindfulness that brought beauty, brought calm, brought peace, brought a sense of love. So I think this is Thay's great teaching of his last years. It's beyond words.
What I learned from Thay is humility. I had so many surprises from Thay because when we are attendants, sometimes we think that, oh, we know Thay, we understand Thay, and we can guess things. But many times, Thay, like a Zen master with a sword, he cut our assumption or speculation. Sometimes Thay is completely different, and many times I was, wow, no, it's not true. Thay wants something else. It's not like that. So I learned humility with my perception. The last 3 years, he didn't tell us stories anymore, but how he visited each place with so much attention and love. those were always special moments for us to follow Thầy to each corner and feel the energy and remember the stories. The last 3 years spending in the Hill Temple were his peaceful and happy years. I remember when Thầy came back here, the first time when Thầy came in his room, above his bed with the decoration there was calligraphy of him with the word in Vietnamese, trở về, coming back. And Thầy pointing to that calligraphy and Thầy smiled and nodded his head. And I asked him, Thầy, is Thầy happy to come back? Thầy nodded. And Thầy looked very peaceful, fulfilled, happy. It was the strongest teaching that Thầy gave to his students. Always coming to our root, our spiritual root, our blood root, our genetic root. For us, growing in the West, being ordained in Plum Village in France, Plum Village is our root. And when Thầy came back here, now we see that we feel clearly in our blood, in our body, that our root is here. And we are so happy. We see that our root is very deep, very ancient. There's so many generations of teachers.
I would say that the last 3 years of Thay's life was a happy period for Thay. First, Thay was able to come back to his root temple and also to visit Thay's teacher's room, where he loved his teacher a lot. He come to see the places that when he was a young novice, the well, the place where he used to raise the cows, the buffaloes, the place where he make the sutras. But that's only memory. I think the presence of Thay in Vietnam the last 3 years brought a message to get in touch with the present moment. And Thay, even though on his wheelchair, he still, as a Zen master of a teacher, he still have a responsibility to teach. Life is only available in the present moment. And Thay took that message dearly. He's still alive. He still have his students. He is with his teachers. He in his root temple. He lived his life fully. Even though physically he was not in the best conditions.
What we share is the spiritual root. And this is the message that Thầy was able to bring out. And Thầy invite everyone to return to that spiritual root by our practice, by walking meditation, by sitting still, peacefully, to get to return to ourselves, to be in touch deeply with ourselves, and to see who we truly are beyond these historical dimension. To touch this common root, this shared heritage, not only of Vietnamese spiritual tradition, but all of the spiritual tradition around the world.
Ông xà đầu nè.
Thầy have gone through a very difficult moment of his life. But Thầy continue to maintain his practice. He continue to have a positive attitude about life, and he does not give up. He thinks that his life still meaningful. He still can do something for life, even in this most difficult state of his health.
Thai went through so many difficult and crucial, critical moments, and Thai overcame. So that time I thought that Thai would also overcome. But when I saw that, no, with everything we did, Thai didn't get better. So there was a short moment I panicked. I understood that no, this time we cannot do anything. And for 7 years I have prepared for this moment. But at that time I was desperate and panicked.
We know that for already a few weeks already that he may be difficult to survive. But one day his heartbeat is too low.
To pass on with the monks and nuns around Thai, singing Thai's poetry. Let the Buddha breathe, I don't need to breathe. That beautiful poem that Thai wrote as a meditation practice was so appropriate.
When I first received the news of Thai's passing, I was at home at my parents' house in San Diego. I took a breath because as I was preparing for a normal work day, and then I realized at that moment that, oh, this is it. And I went to my mother's altar. I lit an incense, and I took a breath and offered the incense to the Buddha and to Thai.
For those who are close to Thai, from time to time we miss Thai, and we would love to have a hug with Thai.
It was a moment that we expected to happen, but of course when it happened, we feel the pain. Thai is still existing in other what we call non-Thai elements. And that's how we can go on. And that's what the Buddha have taught us. And that's how Thai have repeated that message to us. So it's okay to cry for some time, but there's other things available, other life, wonder things around available. Continue, please, my dear student, that Thai's message.
I had then to go back to Deer Park Monastery, where I'm from, and be present for the community there, the brothers and sisters there. And during the first ceremony, we followed live online. We had neighboring monks from different monasteries just across the freeway. They came over to sit together with us. And I remember it was so powerful, so present. You can feel a lot of the grief, a lot of pain and confusion, but at the same time, so much presence, and there's so much coming together as a community. I did a live translation of the ceremonies for the online audience, and it was so moving just to see the live chat as we were in the rooms while we were translating. So many words of support and so much words of gratitude, honoring Thai's work and his life. I felt such a global support, and seeing the participation online on a global level was so powerful for me. Just by seeing the numbers of live streams, there was about a couple 100,000. And the news reached tens of millions.
I think it would be wrong to characterize the ceremonies as being sad or overly solemn. There was a very clear energy every day of joy. There was solemnity that we need to do this for the Sangha in the 10 directions. We need to create a legendary moment for Thai's passing so that as a community we can look back on it and feel that the sense of connection and continuation has been properly held. But it was so joyful, because it's always joyful when we come together, and that's the way Thai always wants us to be. The beautiful thing about these ceremonies is that they're conceived in a way to have thousands of people there, and there's very much this energy of peacefulness, but also everybody wants to be closer to the center of the ceremony. It was such a beautiful walk to go down the main entranceway to the half moon pool and then out through the main gate. We went very slowly, mindfully, and with so much love. I just felt so much this sense of care for Thai, and that we are carrying on Thai's path, Thai's actions. And we came out into the main road, and there was a procession, the kind of funeral float, you could say, that had been prepared, that would hold the casket, and a number of cars to take all of us who are part of the ceremonies. And so we got into the car and drove.
When I look back at the videos, when the car carrying Thai's coffin along the roads, I saw people kneel down and pay respect to Thai. It's a Buddhist tradition. I feel really touched on that. What they pay respect to is not a godlike figure, but it is a person who have brought love and understanding. So that's what I see. That's why I say that Thai continue to teach. Even in his funeral.
The torches came, and then they pushed Thai's casket into the crematorium, and then all of the High Venerables and some of our elders then use the torches to light the wood that had been placed beneath it. That's quite a moment, because my life, now I'm almost 20 years as a monk, and to see Thay's body burning not, of course we could not see it directly, but it's a real moment to see our teacher really going back to the earth. We stayed up most of the night, but early that morning, all the monks and nuns were sitting around the crematorium, just like we would when Thay was giving a Dhamma talk in Upper Hamlet. It was, when I looked around at my brothers and sisters, we were all sitting in silence, and I suddenly realized this is Thay's last Dhamma talk. And we are all there, sitting joyfully, following our breathing, receiving these teachings. It was such a powerful moment. So when we were sitting around the crematorium like that, I remembered that moment of Thay teaching without words. And to be honest, until today, I continue to receive that teaching everywhere. Whether it's in the trees here at Deer Park, whether it's in my brothers and sisters when they give a talk, whether it's in the sky, the ocean. There's Thay's presence everywhere. If I look with those eyes, that for me was a great gift that we received from Thay on that last night.
The whole event was designed as Thay's last retreat. It is a retreat with the topic of the taking refuge in oneself. And it is a noble silent retreat. And Thay is giving a Dhamma talk. It is a noble silent Dhamma talk. And truly, for me, at the end of the day, where are we going to be? Unless we can be in touch deeply with our ultimate dimension, to be in touch deeply with our root, then when we are able to touch deeply with the ultimate dimension, with our root, there will be no fear, there will be no anxiety. It will be a very peaceful death. And in fact, many people have shared with me that they are very afraid of death, but watching Thay's funeral, now they are able to smile to death. They are able to be calm and peaceful, because Thay had gone through it very peacefully, and they know that they can also go through it peacefully, accepting the death beautifully.
Ngàn sau nữa lòng lòng giữa trời mây.
I think since Thai's passing, what's really interesting, when he's alive, the mind tended to keep him always separate. There was Thai, there was the teacher, and then I'm the student, and then I just practice. And one of the things for myself and what I've really observed with the monastics and with other lay friends is it's like the embodiment of Thai now. It's like Thai, he's free, and so he just kind of manifests within the practice, Like doing walking meditation prior to 2022, it's like you walk with Thai, right? And now Thai is the walking. He's just here.
This summer, it's the first summer since reopening after the pandemic. And we offered, again, I like this term, it's like the summer festival where the families can come with children and teenagers. I hope Thai would be happy. We offered a small, for the first time, a deep ecology retreat called Coming Home to Mother Earth. And it was about offering the teachings that have helped me so much in my life. That's the whole retreat is based on this reality of interbeing. He shares the reality of interbeing is unsurpassed, that none of us can exist on our own in the world. The entrepreneurial spirit is great, but you can't make it on your own. And this web of reciprocity with the natural world, that people came for this healing in these times of emergency, of our climate emergency, our biodiversity, ecology emergency. But what Thai talked about, our social emergency as a human family, that loneliness and anxiety are the ill beings of our time.
I never met Thai face to face, yet I still felt his presence in all of the monastics who I developed relationships with and who, using the teachings, helped me change my life. And because of that lived experience, I have a lot of faith in the practice continuing amongst the monastics, and also Thai doesn't just exist in his teachings and in human person. He exists through the practices.
I think we just listen to his talks a little differently now. And for me, I take a lot more to heart some messages he had, especially key teachings in his life and things that he really stressed. There's a very sweet letter that he wrote for monastics, and those words are very different now, seeing that he has transitioned. And I think a lot of us share how we see for years before his transition, he was preparing the Sangha for this inevitable moment, and how to be able to hold itself, how to be there, how to let it be an organism that doesn't need some sort of person at the top in a traditional abbot role, for example, for it to function and for it to thrive. And I think now I see a lot of the quiet genius behind what he was doing for the community, and his actions make a lot more sense. And we not only can, for us, it's not only the case that we can imagine our centers without Suom. That is exactly what we've been doing for the most part. He's been in Thai Plum Village for a while, and Tukyu as well. And I think a lot of this is knowing our teacher, very deliberate. A lot of this was to let the Sangha know how to take care of itself when he's not around. Because that's, for him, I think, a very big happiness to know that he can transition beautifully the way he did, and we'll still be here, and we'll still be happy, we'll still be playing volleyball once in a while, we'll still be cooking together, we'll still be practicing and growing together, and it doesn't just rest on one person.
Thai always talks about inner being and no birth and no death. And it's so easy for the conceptual mind to say, okay, well, he was here and now he died. But I've been here almost the whole Rains retreat. We got about another month to go, and it's just, there is no death. Thai is here, and you can feel him in the energy. You can see him in people's practices, just the presence. I think the Plum Village tradition is here to stay.